First of all, I like the company of a woman. I find they're much more honest about things than men tend to be. But women are going to live longer statistically in over 9 out of 10 marriages. So they have more profound issues because they're going to live longer than their husbands will. And for the most part, this is a male-dominated industry. And so women feel rightly or perceptively that men aren't talking to them. And so women tend not to ask the questions. Women feel a little bit intimidated. If they're going to see their husband's lawyer, they feel the husband's lawyer is talking to the husband, not talking to the couple. That may or may not be true in all cases, but it's how the women feel. So when I do a workshop just for the women and the men can't come, first of all, it drives some of the men crazy because they feel like I'm teaching the women something that's going to change their lives. But what it does is it gives the women a forum to talk about the things that bother them, where they wouldn't talk about those same things if the husbands or the other men were in the audience. So they're not talking about anything they wouldn't otherwise talk to their husbands about, but they won't talk about it when there are other men in the room. And so all I try to do is give them some simple, practical advice, ways in which they can go back to their husbands and maybe motivate their husbands to take certain steps, to talk to their husbands. Maybe they haven't even shared they feel this way. You know, oftentimes when they get up into the older ages, you have the marriages where he has his kids, she has her kids, maybe they have kids together. And when you sit down to try to divide up the estate at death, and he's got kids, they may be older kids, she's a younger wife, he dies first, now the kids are waiting in the wings for her to die before they get his property. That's often the way things happen. And the women don't want to have the children like vultures looking over their shoulder every time they spend $1 out of the living trust. And so this can be a very problematic way to get into a discussion about dividing up the estate. So we try to come up with ways in which the surviving spouse, namely the woman, the wife, will be able to use the funds that remain, not feel that his children are looking over her shoulder every time she spends a dime, and yet everybody sort of peacefully coexists. And there are ways to do that, but the parties need to understand the problem before you can come up with a solution.